Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me go start. Hello everyone, and good afternoon. So today, actually, I'm going to share with you some of the work we have been doing at Juji. By the way, Juji is a startup. It's a kind of artificial intelligence startup located in the Valley. So we're just about an hour away from UC Santa Cruz. And today, in particular, I'd like to share with you the challenges in NLP and also some of the solutions we have been developing. And especially in the context of what we call it, powering no-code cognitive AI chatbots. So first one, I wanted to kind of explain and give you guys a little bit of context. Why no-code AI chatbot? It's for several reasons. First one, let's look at the challenges side of it. So first one, creating a conversational AI. It really takes AI expertise and IT expertise. For example, not everyone and not every organization has the talents like you have. You are taking an NLP class and you're studying machine learning and studying also computer science as well. So the no code and no IT resources, our goal is to alleviate the challenges of requiring the organization to have such expertise. But hear me out. It doesn't mean you're going to be out of a job. Actually, after you hear my, you go through my presentation, you will see your job becomes more important because not only you have to use the NLP to teach the machines, you have to make this NLP usable and useful for the people who have no knowledge about NLP, no knowledge of AI. That's actually even it's a taller order, it's actually the harder task. The second part of it is when you do any type of conversational AI or any type of AI and require a large amounts of data. So our goal of this no-code AI is no or low training data. So that's one of their goal. And the third one it is we want to reduce the long development cycle, which means that is we want to make the AI, its components and the trained modules are reusable. So in this case, it's for the efficiency of the development. So as you can see here, is on the right-hand side is our goal, and that's the challenges on the left side is we're trying to address. So then the next question is, so what is cognitive AI chatbots and why cognitive AI chatbots? So when I talk to our customers, we always say that we refuse to call our AI a chatbot. We always call them AI assistants because we want to compare the AI assistants with the abilities of the human assistant. So basically, just thinking about in your situation, or maybe especially if you have worked before in your work situation, whenever you want to hire a human assistant, you would require this human assistant to have certain skills. Of course, communication skills are number one. If this person cannot communicate with you, cannot communicate with your colleagues, communicate with the people you want to interact with, you don't want to hire this person. Second, just having a communication skills is often insufficient. So you want this person to have what we call it certain types of soft skills. For example, active listening, collaborating, and in this case, reading between the lines. So the cognitive AI, which means that those AI assistants should also have the capabilities, have the powers of the human assistants, such as the communication, such as the soft skills, so they can interact with humans in a very empathetic, in a very responsible way. That's why we call it cognitive AI, which means it's beyond just being communicating, beyond just having a conversation. We want the conversation to be empathetic, to be productive, and to have that kind of quality. Now I'm going to show you a live demo to show you what we mean by no code, number one. Second, what do we mean by cognitive AI? which means it is reading between the lines, active listening. And then I will show you what challenges we have been facing in order to create and support this type of assistance. So now I'm going to switch to my demo part of it. So as you can see here, by the way, you are most welcome to try it later on. And because trying is free anyway, as long as you don't deploy your AI assistant, you can experiment, play with all the Juji features. Even for your NLP, you can actually plug in your NLP algorithm and function and to test it, but you don't need to write the entire system, entire program. So let's say I'm going to create AI assistant from scratch, from a beginning. So what I'm going to show here it is because one of the applications Juji has been used, it's for healthcare. So think about it, maybe you are on the program of weight loss. Maybe you're on the program to monitoring your nutrition status. Maybe you're on the program to help maybe other people, help your loved ones, people you know, to combat chronically ill disease like diabetes or heart disease. So you want to create an AI assistant to check in on them on a daily basis. So that's what we're creating right now. So I'm going to choose a template. So as you can see, most of our templates are education and healthcare. We have some general templates for customer service, for survey, conversational surveys, and job interviews, and so on and so forth. So the one I'm going to show you is healthcare. So healthcare, I want to choose the first one. It's called a care assistant. As I said, the context it is, we want this care assistant to check in on people on a daily basis. So almost like you have your own personal nurse or personal caretaker. So I could create one. So this is one I'm also talking about reuse, because you can immediately having a AI assistant already, but this one you can further customize it, right? So for example, as you can see here, I already have something. I say, sure. Everybody can see my screen, right? I think I'm going to turn off my video a little bit because it's very slow and I do both, but you can hear my voice. So here you said that, for example, how are you feeling? I say, oh, feeling great. How about you? And because this is a special class, and as Edward said, it is you have already taken some NLP class, some machine learning, and when I'm doing this demo, I want you to also to think about it is what kind of NLP technologies will be needed to support this kind of interaction. Okay, I'm doing well, thank you. What happened that make you feel this way, right? I said is today it's just a beautiful day. Say, hope you haven't spent all your time working. What did you enjoy doing today besides work? I said, what about you? Again, just think about it. If you are doing this one, what kind of NLP technologies you think would be needed to support this one? And I say chit-chatting. Now let's continue our flow. What did you do in your spare time? And I said, I'm so busy and I don't really, oh, I'm so busy. Okay, I didn't finish, but let's see. I love to play pianos if I have time. Means I'm glad here that you like to play piano. Okay, again, just look at the demo and thinking what, if you are going to create this one, what you need to do. Being alone sometimes when you spend, I said, I'm all alone by myself today. What's your blood pressure, right? It's 100. And you will see the reason I'm doing this one, I deliberately doing this one. And you said it's what's the brush? It should be two numbers, 180 or 100 over 80. I said 160. I weigh, let's say 130. And you will see. I just want to show you all this one. I didn't do any customization yet, right? Say pounds. And they want to see what do you weigh in what way. Okay. And this one, say this one, could you help me update my insurance? Did you see that? So this is the one I didn't follow the flow, right? I won't ask, say, what do you want? So I said that the policy number is 123456. Same as before. Because it knows that my previous insurance company is Athena. And then it just capture this one and they say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, but remember the previous conversation was how many cups of water did you drink today, right? And then they're coming back. How many cups of water did you drink? I'm looking for a single number like 25. Try again. I said I had about 8 cups of water. Okay, and just think about it when you do this one. I didn't do, right? You have a chest pain. Okay, you can continue. So then I say this one. I wanted to see a dog. Could you help? Again, you will see it's very, I deviate, right? We call it digression. And then, but it's actively listening, listen to me and actually help. I say, nope, I don't have fever. Someone will contact you within 48 hours, right? Say, let's continue our flow. Okay, have you suffered any chest pain? Say that, no, I'm good. Last one, right? 5 selling steps or something like that. We say, it is, right? So I say, yes, I have. We're done for free. So you see, right? So this is the case. I want to show you a little bit what I meant by reading between the lines. So I have this conversation. Of course, I already have lots of chat with my account already, so they know it's going to be more. I said, how much do you know about me? So in this particular one, they tell me about this big 5 personality ones, right? So this is about, for example, in these facets of openness, they're talking about imagination, artistic interest, feelings, adventurousness, natural curiosity, liberalism. So all these types of information. And about me, basically, it's kind of tries to understand me, right? So I could actually ask them, what's my career DNA? This is for some of you who have taken maybe psychology class, we knew some of them. This is very famous, called the Holland codes, which means it is they're trying to understand people, match people's characteristics with different professions. So for example, some people care more about the data, facts, and numbers. Some people care more about people, and some people are more like a makers. They want to do themselves, right? Some people want to boss other people around. So it's a very good, this is given mine. I'm a kind of a helper type. I like to help people. I like collaboration. And then a creator side, it is, I like to do things which requires creativity. For example, like graphical design, like writing, all those kind of things, right? So this is actually pretty accurate. You're describing me in this case. So you can see it's not just about understanding the natural language on the surface. It's also trying to go deeper to understand who you are as a person and use such information potentially to help the person in various of aspects. So for example, some of our clients are using this one for job recruitment, and some use this for helping students learn better because students may have different learning styles, right? So now, having said this one, I'm going to actually stop the demo. And as you can see, what I did is I just go to the template, right? So then I didn't do any customization, but of course you can do customization if you want to. Like for example here, right? You can just change the flow. It's as if you are teaching a human assistant to tell him or her to say, here, this is a list of the tasks you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 1, do it. But you don't need to worry about it during the task performance. If something goes wrong, how the person should handle it. And then the person should know already, right? So has that kind of emotional intelligence. We call it the ways of handling challenges, right? Like you can see in this demo, I interrupted this AI quite a few times. It was able to come back one. Okay, so then I showed you a great side of it. So next time, next slides, I want to show you a set of examples, a series of examples. What are challenges when we're building this particular platform, enabling this particular AI? So I'm going to go, and we can come back to see more demo while I'm doing this one. So before I showing you the challenges examples, I want to just give you a quick overview of what's behind the scene. So what's behind the scene here? It is underneath of it, we have a set of what we call the machine learning models. So those models, some of our data-driven models, for example, like a transformer-based and our own trained models, and some of our symbolic models, like the optimized finite state machines, and some of our own algorithm, for example, sentiment analysis algorithm. And so those kind of different types of algorithms. And so on top of that, we have our own engine. The reason we want to use all of them is because, as you can see in the demo, the reason I want to show this demo is because it shows that you have to understand the semantics of the information, like I'm doing well as extracting the entities. For example, the blood pressure, 100/60, right? And also the, what do you call it? I think a weight, right? In terms of the unit, in terms of measure amount. So you have to basically extract the entity as well. So you have to use both of them, symbolic and neural approaches. So on top of that, this is a hybrid engine is trying to actually invoke different machine learning models, engines at the different times to serve the tasks. Active listening is mainly referring to the conversation management engine. As you can see earlier, even though I didn't do any customization, I didn't do anything, it automatically actually detects the context and maintains the context, so not deviate from it. And a personality inference, which I showed very little too, which means it analyzes the user's conversational text, communication text, and infer the various of characteristics about this person, right? So on top of that, it's building on top of this one, it's our dialogue library, which I will talk about a little bit more, which means this is what I call the reusable AI, because it's a pre-compiled, pre-trained dialogue library. What you have seen is you have seen about maybe 6 to 10 dialogue libraries we already used in this particular template. For example, one library is to say hello, right? How are you doing? That's kind of like a greeting library. Another library is to extract certain piece of information, like the blood pressure one. So then, so you have multiple of them. So then you have dialogue policy, which means it is depending on how did you set your policy. For example, one policy could be it is you don't allow the person to ask, the user to ask any questions during this during the process of eliciting data. Or you could allow, like the policy default one you saw earlier, it allows the users to ask questions anytime, actually address their questions anytime. And you don't need to allow that. So for example, just like this class, right? So Adwit may tell you, don't ask questions until he's done. Or you can ask me questions during the lecture. So just basically different type of policies. On top of that, I already showed you the whole template of the whole AI assistant. So what I showed you, the usage, I showed it, it's a studio, which means no code, completely just use it. And the second part I didn't show you, it's a scripting. Scripting is help you to build your own library. So for example, you said, okay, Juji's library is not sufficient. I want to build my own library. So this can be used in this Juji Studio as well. So your customization can be brought into this no code. Other people can use it. And then of course, on the all this one, IDE and Studio all built on top of a Juji API, which access all this backend. So basically our API to access all of them. Just to give you an idea, because then you know when I go on describing where everything's are, and you have a kind of like at least approximate idea. So the NLP processing, it resides in all the three Juji's core engines, in the language one, in the active listening engine, in the personality inference engine, but they serve different roles, right? So the first one, it is the hybrid language engine. Is about mostly interpret the semantics, which is the surface meaning of the user input, of the user exchanges. And of course, information extraction, which I already talked about, blood pressure. Oh, actually another information exchange, you saw it earlier. I asked about it is, could you update my insurance information, right? The insurance number, the insurance company name. So it's about information extraction. The sentiment analysis, which I haven't showed yet, which I can show quickly later on, which means it is when I do customization and people can come, the owner of this chatbot can say this, if the user's sentiment is positive, what I do. If it's negative, how should the chatbot respond, right? So I will, later on we'll have time, we'll show you this one. It's very easy to see too. And the active listening is mainly about context management and response generation, because the reason we called it active listening is once the AI recognizes what the user's intention it is, what the meaning of the user's input it is, it tries to be respond to the user empathetically as well. For example, repeat it, right? Try to be very understanding that way. And the personality inference is still does the natural language processing, but for a completely different reason, completely different purpose. So this is about to infer user insights, like the big five personality, like a career code, Holland code, and also your soft skills or moral characters. That's one, very different, right? This is trying to really identify the individual differences. So if the user insights is trying to compare how people are different, or maybe a group of people, what are commonality, what are differences among the different groups of people, different segments of people. So it's for different purposes, right? So now the first type of challenge, so I'm trying to, in this one, three types of challenges, right? So the first type of challenge, it is semantic misinterpretation. As I mentioned earlier, one of the key tasks for the hybrid language engine is to interpret the semantics, the meanings of the user input. But it's easy for the machine to make mistakes to result in what we call the misinterpretation. So I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. You will see that, and you will be very kind of probably surprised in some way. Why? One, right? So I will explain why. Two. So one of the misbehavior, look at this one. So let's chat a bit about the challenges. What's the top challenge you're facing? So this user types in 125 times 67. Humans have no problem. It's the math formula you would want. So look at the chatbot response. Chatbot said it's MNR. It's an acronym, multinational retailers. Why? So this is somehow, remember, we also use the deep learning as well, right? So this matches this weird mathematical formula or expression with the MNR. Maybe because it's unknown, because to them it's non-meaningful. They think this is non-meaningful, this is non-meaningful, they match, they close to each other. That's why you can see how the neural networks sometimes work, right? Second one. So what are your admission criteria? Just look at the answer. You can find our admission modification requirements here. Perfectly fine, right? Correct. This is just the slightly variation of this one. What are the admission criteria for your program, right? From a human point of view, what's a big deal? It should be given the same answer. No. The answer was the program capstone is a pass or fail. 4 weeks, group project. Somehow it misinterpreted, like admission criteria have something to do with program capstone, right? So we dug behind the scene a little bit deeper. We found that this is so weird. So both of them are inside our knowledge base. This is about admission criteria. You'll be so surprised. What are the admission criteria for your program? It's closely matched with what's a program capstone versus what are your admission criteria. That beats us. Why the machine learning engine, why the neural network are trained in this way to think this is the two are closer, this two actually further away. But from a human point of view, there's no brainer, right? This is definitely closer to each other. So as you see, this misinterpretation, more misinterpretation. I'm studying computer science and I hope to make AI like you someday, right? Look at what AI says. Really? You're not a human? What a pleasure. So this person was dumbfounded to say, I tell you I'm computer science, how to make AI, but you told me I'm not human. So why? It's because somehow this is matches with training set. I'm an AI just like you, which is not, right? I hope to make AI like you someday, but it's close enough to say I'm an AI just like you. This is misinterpretation. So what caused by this one? The main cause for this type of problem, it's really a lack of data. And also, you will be so surprised to learn it. We surprised to learn. Now, of course, we're not surprised anymore. Details really matter. So, for example, I remember when we didn't have our own data to train, we were surprised to see I have no job. Haha, I don't have a job. A match between these two are very low. But from a human point of view, you knew that they're very similar, right? So similarly, admission criteria, please, for human, no brainer, they're the same. But for machines, they don't think they're the same. So that's why when you talk about a lack of data, it's all these immediate differences that you have to take into consideration. So when you are wait for me to see our solutions, you will say, oh wow, why those solutions will work, right? So what are your boy or girl? What are you, a boy or girl? And Juji, are you a boy or girl, right? Again, they don't match because somehow machines feel like these are very far apart, these feel very apart. But from a human point of view, they're not. I used to use this classic example. I didn't put it here, and which also makes people laugh, but it's true. Say that I don't like strawberry. I like strawberry. These two are totally opposite semantics, but the machines will think they're very close to each other up to more than 80% of them, which is true. If you look at the symbol, they are 80% of the similarity, right? But the semantics, they're completely opposite. So that's the challenge we have been facing. You have to get enough data to train that, and not just the random data. It's garbage in, garbage out. You have to get those clean, nice data, but with those various of a detailed or variations. That's one issue we got, right? So another part of it is, a harder part of it is maybe the machine understands partially, but a lack of the full understanding. Let me show you this one, right? Do you resent others' good fortune? Because universities have quite a few universities that are using Juji to conduct user research. So they ask those open-ended questions, right? So this user said it is, I don't resent others' good fortune. I believe everyone has his own rights or lucks to get their own fortune, and that has nothing to do with me, right? So the AI said, are you guessing? I just treat it as a positive response. Actually, it's completely opposite, because the person said, I don't resent others' good fortune. But this one thinks it's up because I think I couldn't fully understand what I think maybe has a phrase I believe. So in this case, it is, they will say, are you guessing? Because the beliefs and guessing. So in this case, it is, it's not just lack of data. You could blame lack of data. Actually, the hard problem it is the space is too vast, and you very hard to get those kind of data. So this example we included in one of our papers a year ago. So what's the top challenge you're facing, right? So this is all real humans' responses. In my current job, I experienced a lack of value system associated with work, blah, blah, blah. Another person said it's the biggest challenge I have faced is finding a sense of purpose. By the way, I even write down this one. It's a misspell sense. And the last one, look at it. Most challenges are met as an opportunity to grow. Hardest part is losing friends. Even a human to look at this one, maybe uncertain whether this person answers the question or not, right? So think about it. It's just one conversation about top challenge. So you have to have really very context-sensitive data. And even the context-sensitive data to cover this space, it's very difficult, which I will show you how we actually address this type of issues down the road. So second type of challenge, right? I'm trying to get all the challenges first. Then I will tell you the solution. And maybe I should actually do a challenge and then the solution. I guess it's okay. It's a short enough lecture anyway. So second challenge it is, first challenge I would say it's interpreting the semantics. Second challenge is context matters, because humans are super, super smart. Humans don't need to be reminded when we chat with each other, when we communicate with each other, we know context. We don't need to be reminded about, but machines aren't so smart. So here, I just want you to read the example, which is embarrassed us at the very beginning. So I said, I'd love to learn a bit more about you. What's your most vivid childhood memory? I'm interested in hearing what you enjoy doing, what were the worst moments, right? So this person said, I lost my dad. By the way, you all see my Michelle one because I don't want to reveal the real user. So I basically duplicated their stuff using my name in under my account. So Juji said, oh no, I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. Empathetic, right? It's correct. But look at the next one. Next one, Juji said, is if you are still up to it, what's your most remembered childhood event? Actually, this person kind of answered it. I lost my dad, right? But somehow Juji wasn't able, in this context, to grasp the person already answered the question. But even though Juji responded to this response very well, so this is what you probably you have heard about this GPT-3 or the things, right? Then you can think about it. How much data you need, not just the regular data, you need the real conversational data, but where you can get the conversational data as this personal, as this private to train it. Not just one turn, multi-turn, right? If you just look at this one turn, absolutely fine. But in this conversation, it's not fine. It's not acceptable. So then I want to show you another one, which is also interesting. We detected later on. So let's chat a little bit about the challenges. What's the top challenge you are facing? Operating hours? I say I work 24/7 and I never get tired either. Very proud of myself on my energy, right? Let's continue. What's your top challenge? When you look at this conversation, this multi-turn, fine, right? Nothing wrong with it. What about this? Let's chat a bit about challenges. What's top challenge you're facing? Operating hours. I'd say I work, what's your top challenge? You see what's wrong with this one? Because in the previous one, this person actually changed the topic, was asking operating hours of Juji. This one, this person is referring to him or herself. Operating hours is my top challenge, right? But Juji didn't realize that in this particular case. And what's your top, and then repeat that. Again, it's unaware of a context, right? Look about this one. Similarly, could you introduce yourself? I'm a marketer working for a startup. You must be good with people. Life is not about work. I'm wondering what you enjoy doing outside work. Perfectly fine, right? Nothing wrong. What about this one? I'm a marketer working in a startup. Whenever I have time, I love to play games. You must be good with people. Fine. Look at the next one. Life is not about work. I'm wondering what you enjoy doing outside work. They said already, right? And then they shouldn't be asking, because this is one about remembering context. Should be remembering, right? Okay, so I'm going to go next one. Explanations wanted. So this is a second class of challenges. It's about understanding context, and especially to be aware where in the context. Another one is to remembering what people have said within the context. And there's another one I didn't point out, which I showed in the demo. If you still remember, when I showed the demo, the AI was asking me, so what did you enjoy doing, right? I said, what about you? So that's the very abbreviated response. So the machine has to interpret it in the full context. Oh, it must be asking me, what do I do outside of work, right? It's the same thing. So which means that's also context used for interpretation. So this is one is you use context again to use the interpretation, basically to figure out whether our conversation is continuing or this particular mini conversation is ended, right? It needs to detect that. And explanations. So explanations, it is one, it is because this is probably most important to our NoCode AI. You saw my demo, how are you feeling, right? So actually, when I do this one, underneath of the one, we have a pre-built-in conversational topic. It's called how are users doing. But we didn't explain to people when this happens. So what kind of situation, what kind of situations are covered? So for example, so we often have, sometimes client will ask us, I want to see all the responses that my chatbot will use, which is not possible, feasible, meaning practically, but we need some type of explanation here, right? To explain what kind of situations, cases are covered. By the way, we haven't figured out how to do that. If you know, please let us know. So basically, how do you explain that? And similarly here, do you know anything about walnut? It's just coming, right? So I don't know, you interpret question. I'm a nuts fan, tell me about walnut. So this case, right? So this is kind of like a little bit a weird one. It is, it's people, the users wants to know, what can you answer, right? What do you know? Some kind of things. This one, we have the good idea how to solve them right now, and through natural language generation. And this one, and I just want to kind of share with you the challenge we faced earlier, a lack of transparency, a lack of explanation. So you often get into the situation, always the users ask something, and the system always sometimes say this one, could you rephrase? But the user doesn't know how to rephrase because it still doesn't know what you know, right? So that's the issue over there. So now I'm going to transition to current solutions, right? So the current solutions we are working on 3 areas. One is automatic chatbot debugging, which means it is the situation I just showed you. Actually, if we don't have automatic chatbot debugging, we would not be able to catch them, because there's literally hundreds of thousands of transcripts. You have to read through one by one and figure out which one's wrong. That's not very efficient. So we have started collaborating with university. This especially in this particular with the University of Colorado Computer Science Department, trying to figure out how can we enable a debugging of a chatbot in an automatic way. And next one, it is localized training. This case would solve a lack of data problem. At least we will do what we call the divide and conquer to train it with the limited data, but for the given context, actually be more accurate and also to less error prone. Another one, of course, the human in the loop, always important, always there. But I wanted to point out the human in the loop challenges because certain data may be unreliable. Certain data may not be just used directly, right? So I'm going to go first one, chatbot debugging first. The chatbot debugging first, that is, the idea is to automatically detect the chatbot misbehavior. So our first work is in collaboration with Anne, and it's basically her thesis, a PhD thesis from University of Colorado on this one. So what a very cool thing she did is, so given a transcript, so let's say, for example, you have built the conversational AI and you send this conversational AI outside to chat with hundreds of people, let's say 128 people. But each transcript probably takes about half an hour to go through to find out what's wrong with the chatbot. And then you can figure out how you fix it, right? So what she did is very interesting. So we call the chatbot profiling. So given this transcripts, she trying to actually plot a profile of the chatbot. So for example, as you can see here, right here it is. So this is one, I'm pretty sure it shows that informativeness. So this is informativeness. This is the response length, right? So she wants to use this measure, which I will describe later on what measures we use. We have used it. So look at this one. This is by question, right? It's by what do we, either by question or by what we call the conversational segment, conversational topic. So by this topic, you will see user says much more detail. This one, user say many more. Do you see that? This one, right? So which means it is those kind of questions, people maybe are more likely to answer, and the people are actually have less problem to answer. But those kind of things, people have somehow either say, look at this one. Where are you located? Right? Either not doing well, you're not doing well. And another part, she also see that she also give you example. So in one of things, because it's not interactive, I can't show the demo. So I don't have her system, this one. So this one actually, if on top of this one, she could also show you there's a back and forth, which is interesting, right? Back and forth, which means that is when the system, when the AI asks the question, the user somehow either didn't answer the question or couldn't answer the question, or the system missed it. So that's about back and forth. That's a big sign to indicate in this conversation, something might have gone wrong already. So in that case, she will print out the potential conversation with the example conversation here. So people can see, right? So look at it one. We talk about this topic 2 has a problem. Say, where are you located? India. Say, I hear you. Where are you located? No. Thank you for your input. Do you see something already wrong? Say, no, it's not cleaning up. Someone said, it's where are you located? What about you? Thank you for your input. So you can see all these 3, the chatbot didn't do very well, right? So actually she was able to catch that. So this is the first thing. You want to take a look at where the problem spots are. And so this is what we measure, right? So by the way, we have the paper actually published in CHI 2021 last year on this particular chatbot profiling. So one it is when we wanted to plot the profile, we want to profiling a chatbot. We wanted to measure 2 big part of it: usefulness and usability. Actually, thanks to your professor, probably Marilyn and Lynn Walker, right? And I believe she's a professor in probably in the computer science department at UC. So she used to have a very nice framework called Paradise to evaluating spoken conversational agents. So we borrowed some of them and also added some of the metrics. So for example, the usefulness, right? So usefulness, it's basically measures whether the tasks performed is a completion rate. For example, if you are using this AI assistant to conduct an interview or conduct a conversational survey, what is the completion rate? And also engagement duration, how long they were engaged. And if you are using it for eliciting information, and what is the informativeness of the answers, users' responses, right? This one you can measure the task performance, basically. Second one, it's AI's scale performance, the level of language understanding, context matching, and the response quality, of course, right? So then another one is the user experience. This case, it is we wanted to see it is if user abandoned rate, not just the overall conversation, maybe certain conversation segmented. Like for example, like one you saw the where you located, people might abandon, just leave on. And user sentiment, what users' expressions when during the overall conversation. Of course, you can always measure user satisfaction rate at the end of the conversation. Another one we also, because we wanted to, this is along the line of ethics, AI ethics, responsible AI. We also wanted to measure level of empathy of the AI, hate speech rate, as well as the user trust rating. How much user trust this one? They have different measures for that. So this is pretty much the measures we're using and use it to plot chatbot profiling. So once you have a chatbot profiling, it's not sufficient because you also want to know precisely where it went wrong. It's almost like I think you're doing NLP and machine learning, you probably computer science students, you know what program debugging means, right? Means that you want to help me to find out where things went wrong so I can go fix it. So this case, it is to automatically give what we call the misbehavior alerts. This alerts that you can see here, it is, what do you do for a living? I'm studying business now because it can make a living for me. I'm not sure about this. Its appearance is so important too. It's obviously mismatched again, right? What do you do for a living? It's already answered. But somehow the AI thought this is matches with asking for appearance, beats us, right? But what she's work right now is able to automatically detect from the transcripts, there is a problem spot, right? So also to try to explain it, this chatbot might have mistaken the user's response as the question. So actually you can print the question, what the question it is, right? So in this case, it can help the owner of the chatbot and go back to fix it. So fix it in this means that actually we have even guidance to help them how to fix it. In this case, would be actually giving more training data and then to make it more proper, more matched, more kind of match the correct responses in this case, right? So which I will show a little bit later if we have time to show one. So the second approach we have been using right now, but which is actually related to it. So second approach is to help. So once you debug, you found this problem, right? You have to fix the problem. So the fix the problem from our point of view, we use this localized, contextualized training. So we call it divide and conquer because for each topic, you can train that. And also it's context aware because it's within this context, right? So I want to actually, let me see, I want to show you, this is one, basically show you example because there's a paper to it, but I want to show you an example better on this one. Adwait, how I'm doing on time?
We still have more time.
Okay.
I would maybe recommend like wrapping up in the next 15 minutes so we can have time for
discussion. Sure. Let me see. Yeah, I think I'm most done. Wow, I have
okay.
Not many, right? So let me just show this demo, and those things are actually use this. I think it should be quick. If we don't finish it, maybe we can just open the floor. I can use the rest of the slides just to show that it's kind. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Also, since we're at a transition point, do we want to just pause and see if there are any questions?
Sure, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, will be great. Yeah.
Any questions from the audience or? No? Okay, go ahead. We can have questions at the discussion.
Okay. So what I'm trying to do here, it is I'm trying to do, for example, here, right? What I called it is localized training. So did you see here what I called it earlier? I was talking about the transparency, right? So when you put this, how are you feeling, this one, then we have the back end of the pre-built, what do we call the dialogue library to support the conversation around this topic, right? And you can click on to find more. We have many of them. Many of them. So this one, obviously, it's the right one, right? So we're going to use it. However, when you do this one, right? When you do this one, so for example, let's just try one. I want to show you. Yeah, I want to see what things look like. We'll go through today, right? Routine. I said it. You bet. So did you see this one, right? So somehow it goes to, it's incorrect, right? So I lost my dog today. First one, again, it's right. But I didn't recognize this one. Actually, it is answering my question in a way, right? That's why I asked me what happened today and made you feel this way. Did you see that? Right. So I want to fix this one. This is what I talk about. So what I do here, it is, I want to do it within this context. So for example, how are you feeling today, right? So what I want to do is I just want to use this in this context, which means that I want the AI to recognize if anything is negative sentiment is answering this question, how are you feeling today? So in this case, what I'm going to do is when I say it contains sentiment, I said it's negative. What I would say it is, I want to add the acknowledgement. I said it's I'm so sorry to hear about it. I hope you feel better as time goes on. Okay, so this one. So in this case, what happens is I'm teaching this AI two things. First one, if it's a negative or sentiment expressed during this context and acknowledge it in a nice way. Moreover, I teach them that cap it. This is already answered the question, move on, basically, right? So as you can see, and you will see. Do you see that? So this one, not just recognize the one, I didn't write down, I lost my dog today. I just say sentiment, right? So this one will go on with this kind of things. Do you see that, right? This one, which means it is, this is with the context one. So another thing I want to show you very similarly. So for example, I'm going to show you another one, right? Very simple one. So you will see, which is might be a little bit different, right? So this case, I would say, for example, request user. This is just the kind of future demo purpose, right? We just saw this yesterday from another university. And here we don't have the one, just as a general question, right? In this case, right? So in this case, I would say preview, and you will see. watch. What do you mean by brood, for example? Doesn't know, right? So in this case, I do not want this one to, I don't want to give user this information within this context. If I do that, which means if the user asks this question outside of a context, it would not be able to handle this. So what I can do here it is out of context. So basically what I'm showing you is there are two contexts, right? Within the workflow, outside the workflow. So in this case, I would add this definition. I would automatically generate question. I would select about a concept. I would just say brood. Then I say automatic generate. So they automatically generate all the different types of expressions, say meaning to worry and or to be concerned about, something like that, right? So here, and you see here a preview, right? So in this case, I can ask this question anywhere. I can ask this one anywhere, right? You mean, say, this is another one. This is another maybe one. See, you say not worry about type. They feel this way. So basically, we don't know which one. As I say, you can still have some of it doesn't match with one, right? Mm-hmm. You can see. Now you can say, okay. And you can see anywhere you can do that. So you see, it's not about to be, which means it is this out of context, you can do that already, right? You can see this one. But you see, when I do even doing live demo, we would have this one with this mismatched one too, still a little bit. So that's why the debugging is very important to find out what the things are. So then it's going back to show you how we train by this topic. I showed you a very, very cheap way. But the more expensive way to train this one, it is this one. So for given a conversational topic, so we have all these different types of conversations for interview results or transcripts. So we use what they call it intent discover. So this is kind of unsupervised learning. You can use the different types of unsupervised learning, like a topic modeling, and to extract all the different type of intent, and also sentence ranker to rank the most, representative sentences, the most common sentences. So we move them into different types of piles, if you will, right? So then we use that kind of data, then do sentence encoder, and you can use any kind of sentence encoder, and then to do the classifier builder. So in this case, it is once you have those kind of things, you're coming back to make this almost like the if and and statement, but each of the if and statement, it's encapsulated this deep learning engine there. So as a different types of, so for example, in the example I gave, what top challenge are you facing now, right? So in this case, you might be discovering from massive, not massive, in this case, there's a smaller amounts of data, probably tens of thousands, not talking about millions and billions, right? You can do a very nice conversational topic just on these challenges. So you will see people talking about financial challenges, people talking about people challenges, people talking about challenges, how to manage time, right? So you will do that one. So this is kind of like a nice thing about here is once you use this to improve your topic, you're not interfering, you're not actually contaminating other topics, so which is this is the one our criticism about this end-to-end conversational training, because once you train one, and other parts of it may not working anymore, because you cannot guarantee it's the same richness of the data for every type of conversation, right? You can't guarantee that. So in this case, the nice thing that is you want to make sure that the conversational training is by topic. So you can make every topic great, and then you just thread them together. So that's the one we have been using this method we call the divide and conquer, right? So actually, I'm going to skip because I do want to, this is actually a very interesting example too. I just want to show you example and you will laugh. But okay, so do you have any questions? So a user said is, I'm wondering what Charles Darwin thought of a personality test. Actually, that's my question, right? So the Juji said, sorry, I don't know how to respond to this one. That's fine. Look at the next one. What are you thinking? I'm wondering what Charles Darwin thought of a personality test. Sorry, I don't want to do. In this case, the user doesn't need the response, right? Because it answers this question. And this one, it answers this, user answers the AI question, but it's basically asking a question, right? This is not asking a question, it's just basically a statement. As you can see, becomes very hard. It has to be context sensitive to figure out this one, right? You have to remain, in this case, remain silent, right? Another one is very, very similar. I want to find out what challenging opportunities are in the report. Sorry, it's beyond my knowledge. This is a kind of a least legit answer, right? What do you wish to access the report? I want to find out one. Again, this is beyond my knowledge. This should be, again, remain silent, right? So that's why silence is gold. Sometimes the AI needs to know when to shut up, and then it's hard, right? So in this case, we currently were determining when not to respond. It's really the context, content, and confidence level. Okay, quickly, human in the loop. So people always ask about it is, so how humans can train this one? How we, I say, yes, we do that all the time, especially for the conversational owner. We call the supervisor of the AI will do this one. So for example, in this case, we automatically capture and answer the questions to the supervisors, and then they can answer this question immediately, improve the chatbot without taking down the chatbot, without taking down the AI, because the AI may be having a conversation with other people. So it's kind of a live one. So in this case, but we want the supervisor, human supervisor, to confirm this is the right one. So it's a creator confirmation, confirm this one. And another one we do here is the user feedback. So user feedback, it is that during the conversation, we can turn on the user feedback. So the user can give us comments on that, right? It's user feedback. And then the one of things be aware it is this. Either user gave you a feedback, but you don't know what the users are thinking. So in this case, you want to be very careful about using that data to train your machine, to improve the machine. This is a very good example. So where do your graduates work, right? So then AI said, and I don't know, but I can answer the following, which means this is the kind of matching is low. Where are some companies your alma mater are working, right? This is kind of correct. If this is right, and you think, oh, it'll be great, I can just use the user to click and to learn. Not so fast. Look at this one. This one, people talking about it is, people say, user ask, what payment methods can I use to pay application fee? They don't really have this one. They have a similar close one. Say, when do I pay for the application fee? They look at this one, right? It will tell you, oh, after you submit application fee, but didn't really answer this question. But a user did click on this one. But if you use the click as the confirmation, that's not sufficient because it's very hard to read the mind of the user, whether they just want to look at another answer or they think this is the answer. We don't know about. So they always have a user in the loop, which means like this to confirm it. Okay, this is my last slide. So right now we're doing auto-generating training data. Do you remember I mentioned about the details matter as well? And to generate a data with those, Juji, how are you doing? It's basically those things to automatically expand the training sets. And one of the in-place error correction, this is one we want to support, because when the supervisor looking at the error, and they want to be able to change the responses in our library. That's one. Another one I already talked about is unbox NoCode AI, which I already talked about. It is when you look at the pre-built conversations like a black box, how did you unbox that? So I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I remember in the second second book of Harry Potter, I think somebody was saying that if you have a black magic box, if you don't know how the magic works, never use it. Do not use it, right? So it's the same thing. People are worried about, people don't trust it. So how do you unbox the black box so people knew that, oh, this is what I'm going to expect. So that's the kind of things very important and to have. So I want to actually thank my colleagues. So we have many people working on this one. So especially these three, because they really helped us. By the way, V is one of your alumni as well from UCSC. And Wenxi and Hua Hai. So they're my colleagues who have been working on this particular platform for the longest time. Okay, I'm going to stop it here and to see if any questions. I think we have about 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, we can go a little bit past 4. But first, let's thank the speaker for a really interesting talk on all sorts of things on personal assistance. So, so let's open the floor for questions and discussions. I have one, but maybe I'll take it off if nobody wants to start.
So I'm coming back to show my face now. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
There we go. Great. Okay. One second, let me just adjust my screen here. Okay. In your examples, it seemed like you had some examples where the chatbot was doing more of like a task-oriented dialogue, and other examples where it was doing chat. Right. So can you say something about how it intersperses task-oriented dialogue with chat, or is it all based on like a chatbot style model?
It's always so. The whole point of our work it is we want to make the AI, conversational AI, mixed initiative. So which means that it is the flow which I showed, right? So actually, maybe it's good to show this slide. I kind of glanced over it. Actually, it's a really good summary of that. I can still share a screen, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to share because I put it up. Yeah. So this is a good slide to summarize that. So we realize that it is every conversational AI, if you want them to do any meaningful tasks, it always have what we call a task flow, right? That's what we call it, the main chat flow, this task flow. So task flow normally include several, sometimes some people make it very complex, right? Like I saw some of the hundreds of the steps of flow. So then this is a task flow, which is system initiative. So this is what the system is going to follow to do the one. So we also have a bunch of the fallback topics, bunch of one. So these fallback topics could be multi-turn as well. So for example, if the user was asking, do you deliver in my area? Then the multi-turn might be this, which area are you in, right? And also, is it a commercial? Is it a residential? And in which city? Then provide the answer. It's already multi-turn, right? So this one is another, you can think about it is a big repository of this fallback of the one. So this is about user initiative. So user can initiate the conversation. So our automatic, what we call the active listening engine, automatically put them together. So the builder of the chatbot, builder of the conversational AI doesn't need to worry about it. So that's why you saw earlier when the chatbot was asking, how are you doing today? If I interrupt with, could you change my insurance information? Which is coming back here because the user initiated that, right? Then but the AI needs to be automatically keep track of that, make sure, knows that where it's in the workflow, and then repeat that and remember that, and also to continue that flow. So it's in our case, it's a truly mixed initiative. So we use that. So we made this way. Anyone who wants to come to build the chatbot, they can define what is agenda of the, we call the agenda topics, agenda of the chatbot. But in the meantime, we already have a bunch of they can also define theirs too, their user initiative, which is using what we call the QA board, right? With the QA board, it's basically define this part, and the other people the main flow is with this part. But as how they thread it together, the person doesn't need to worry about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the just a follow-up question, then for the agenda, can that be done through the UI with no code? Like if I had a domain where the agenda was different.
Yeah, you can just change.
Or does that require some scripting?
No.
Okay.
Pure. Let me go show you with. Let me just. I just logged out. I'm sorry. I just logged Juji. I'm just going to show you this one. I'm going to show you my another account because I have somebody. I have something. Some people using one of our chatbot is in. It's in our website. A website chat. You kind of go chat it, right? So here, you will see every agenda is customized. So for example, I want to show you our agenda is this one. Welcome agenda is Juji's welcome agenda, right? This is a chatbot here, basically. Somewhere here. Or the chatbot, I think it's on the Juji's domain, on the Juji's website. This one, the Juji's website, this one. So this one, you will see the flow, welcome message. When you do this flow, it's like you create PowerPoint. So what do you want to talk first? Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Walnuts, something else. You see. Earlier, when I showed the demos, ask you, how are you doing today, right? What do you do today besides work? And it gave me blood pressure. So you do anything this one. You can create it from a blank and just adding this one together. Okay. See that? I see. Right. So you can, it's like a PowerPoint. You can just add on this one. So for example, this one, I did the demo earlier. I think earlier I was trying something. So this one, it's about, this one's the same, teaching assistant. So let's do another one here. For example, manage. This is the general interview. Interview say, can you introduce yourself, right? And your hobby. And then thank you again participating in our interview. So know a program, invite user, ask questions, and then that's it. This is different, right? You can create it. You can create whatever thing. Okay. What do you want, right? So this is the one you can add. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there some way to tell it, like if it's collecting a piece of slot information, like in your interview example, like if the system asks like, where did you complete your bachelor's degree, and it's expecting like the name of a university. Mm-hmm. Is there some way to tell Juji that you're looking for that particular piece?
Yeah, good, great question. So that's one in this case. For example, I'm going to add one, right? I'm going to add one. Add one. If I add one to say request the user input, I will show you. So for example, in this one, I want to say this one. For example, what company do you work for? See that? Yeah. Okay. And you will see here. Ask a user which company she currently works for. And then we have even a user company name, user job status, opt-in email. So all these system attributes. So which means that they will try to gather all those information for you. So you can think about those attributes almost like a slot. Okay. Okay. So for example, in another one, I want to show you, let's say if you write a chatbot for making a restaurant reservation or any reservation, right? So there's what kind of what is your reservation? Let's say this one. Here you will see the going back reservation. Basically collected is reservation month, day, hour, minute, period, which is PM 1, people, year, right? So if you can see here, you will see here. What's your reservation? I said it's for 5 people. So remember, it needs the number of people, time. See, okay. For 5 people, right? Please specify a date in a format of this one. This is what you talk about mixed initiative. Here, I can ask anything to interrupt this one. I would say, do you know Lady Gaga? This is a chit chat, social chit chat, right? And then it recognized that it would answer you, but then continue what they said. It said, yeah, but it's kind of like a bad romance. Which day do you wish to reserve? I said, make it, let's say 07/23, 2022. And you can also add to say whether you want this one or not. What time? See, do you see that? Piece by piece, they go to one. I said, for example, 12. In this case, we didn't do a kind of a checking, which is on PM, PM, right? Maybe this is a 24-hour restaurant. So they said, so it's a confirmed reservation, 7:23, this one at 12 PM for 5 people. Say that I work for IBM. You will see, and it will automatically say company name. So this one, so that's why we call the pre-built. So pre-built, you have those things already, right? You are ready. So another thing was interesting, I showed you earlier. Let's say we delete this one. We don't need this one. And we delete this one. No. Okay, so let's just delete this one to be faster. How do you enjoy doing it? Oh, okay, so this one doesn't have it actually. So you could actually, for example, you can customize. So let's say we do one, we said, what's your favorite food, for example, right? So this one about the favorite things. If I say preview, it's very important. I say that, what's yours? And it understands within the context, right? What means this one? Electricity. What's your favorite food? I said, I love many types of food. And that's the power of this pre-built. But then it's understand because you didn't tell them a favorite food, right? I said I love shrimp. And then in this case, we didn't go that level. It just say, okay, nice. That's it, right? But then if you wanted to customize into, that's why I said, it's very nice about it is one, it is, people can use this for NLP classes for actually interesting, right? So in this case, for example, if I'm a seafood restaurant, I wanted to catch everybody who likes seafood. And I said, I like seafood, for example. I made it like 80%, something like that, which is similar, right? Then in this case, I would say quick acknowledgement. I said, it's glad to hear that you love seafood. It's good for you. Okay, this case. So in this case, when I do this one, I customize it basically, right? Remember, before that, I just say nice. I didn't really acknowledge I like seafood. But this case, I won't do that one, but I may not be able exactly same. It should match because I like shrimp, I like seafood. They are very similar. Would you try? You see that? Mm-hmm. Glad to hear that you love seafood. It's good for you. I put the one training example because I like seafood, right? So you can do that one. So the nice about it is one, potentially you could put in your own natural language generation, natural language processing one in here. We have a function here. We allow you have this called a matches pattern. In this pattern, you can put your function inside. Could be a Java function, could be some function inside to basically process the user input, right? So here it's you could actually add the function, could be your NLG function, for example, and then to respond to it, right? So that's kind of things you could do that.
Okay. Good. Sure, your question.
In previous demo, you have like predefined the word broad, and then you predefine as like a worry, meaning of worry about something. So it's kind of like building a vocabulary or embedding for broad, and then make it like really similar to worried, and then it will like further identify this word, like identify like when I say I'm worried about nothing, so it identify like this kind of worry is connect to that question. Is that correct?
So what I showed earlier in the demo is for achieve multiple goals. Let me see. One goal you want to achieve it is to help people continue the conversation, right? So if you ask it is, so what do you brood over? And the user cannot answer the question because some people may not understand the word brood means, right? So you wanted to give them a definition. If the user said is, so what do you mean by brood, right? So then you guys say, oh, brood means to worry, to be concerned with. So then the user say, oh, then user continue to answer the question. So the reason I showed that for another purpose, it is you could put the information inside here, like in this contact. Remember, each of this card is a contact, almost like you doing a PowerPoint. With each of this slide, it's one segment, it's one topic, right? You could put it here. I was saying that you don't want to put it here for the purpose that is you want to put it into the what I showed earlier when Edward asked question. You can put it here within this one circle, or you can put it here, which anybody can access. I was trying to show that you can put it anywhere else. Everybody can access. So let me give you a counter example. If the chatbot asks the question to the user to say this one, what's your special talent, right? But the user asks back, what did you mean by special? In that case, you don't want to put this question answering inside here because that's very context sensitive. The special in that case, just talking about special talent. So you want to put that QA inside here, which means that is if the user said, what do you mean by special? Then you can say, oh, the talent, the particular talent distinguished you from other people, or maybe the talent only you have. Did you see that? So one is about context. Another one is out of context that you can still enable that kind of a conversation. I hope I explained that.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? So that's why it's very interesting to we separate this one because it's easier for people to program the chatbot, if you will, right? If our program is no code, so people know, oh, where should I put it here or should I put it here? So for example, I showed earlier, I could put it here. For example, in this case, if people said, what's your favorite food, right? I could put it here. It is, what did you mean by favorite? I mean, oh, I said it's, oh, the one you eat most often, or maybe the one you eat a lot, right? I can hear that, but I will put it here. But I would not put it inside the QA board. You know why? If I put it there, if I say, oh, what did you mean by favorite? If I answer this one, then if another user asks the same question, if I say, what's your favorite movie? And then if I say that, then the same question answer cannot be reused, right? Because it's context sensitive. For example, context sensitive is very important. I will show you another one. It's truly context sensitive too. What's your favorite movie? I'm just going to use this one. Say, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite food, right? If I use this one, even the user has exactly same input, the system understands the context. Say, what's yours? I like Black Mirror. What's yours? This one you guys already saw, right? So exactly the same, totally different context.
Michelle, we're nearing the end of our slot,
Yeah.
so maybe we can have one or two final questions. Any final questions for the speaker? Okay, maybe one. Okay, good.
Yeah, I like. You said I love electricity. So how do you embed this kind of humor inside the chatbot?
Oh, that's one is from here. Oh, sorry, I could stop the screen share. It's here. So it's from here. So so we have a huge library, and we have a huge library to have all this trained, pre-trained with many of these. What do you call we call the answer and responses. We have many of them. So that's pre-trained. So this pre-trained library is with every single AI chatbot. So like the one you saw earlier, I said is, do you like Lady Gaga or do you know Lady Gaga? Right, let's have a response to it. That's the one. So for example, this one said is, I say, what's the weather like in San Jose, maybe in Santa Cruz? So this is already pre-trained. So each of these, any of the AI assistant on our system has this vast amounts of knowledge behind the scene already. I would say, you may say that what's electricity?
Okay, thanks.
You see that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're probably out of time, so maybe we should conclude today's seminar. So let's thank the speaker one more time for a really great discussion.
Thank you for listening. Right. So again, when go try, give it a try, right, and check your NLP skills.
Yeah. It's like a free demo people can use.
They can all free use, not just a demo. They can create their own chatbot. They can do lots of things there, as long as they don't deploy. Right, it's all free. You can use all the features. Actually, we have many universities using our work to teach students AI. Actually, high schools or universities. So they don't deploy. Every student that go there use it. They don't deploy.
Okay, great. Okay, we can. So our students can maybe check it out after the talk. So.
Yeah, you can try it. Yeah, you can try it and make other people make the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for speaking in our seminar series, Michelle. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Bye. Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye everybody.
Mm-hmm.